Welcome to this week's edition of World Stories. How a fisherman turned to saving lives off the coast of Lesbos. Solar power is keeping fish fresh on the Cape Verde Islands. But first to the US, where we caught up with a former Air Force technician. Once he was at the heart of the US drone campaign in Afghanistan. Now he is doing what he can to help the victims of that remote-controlled war.
We've come to a refuge for veterans in the remote town of Taos. Sean Westmoreland is just 28, but he's seen more of the world than most do in a lifetime. A former technician in the US Air Force drone program, he now helps out at this place for those bearing the scars of America's wars.
Coming here and working with the lands, it's therapeutic in the sense that, you know, when you are in the military, you're using your creative energy for destruction.
Sean eventually received a report saying he'd contributed to more than 200 kills. It was meant to be an accolade, but it set off a chain of events leading to his decision to speak out, as well as guilt, depression, and nightmares.
I'd see like a kid sitting over her mother, and you know, her face would be caked in blood, and I would just end up apologizing to the kid and saying I'm sorry, and then I'd see the kid she would just walk away from me. She'd have fear in her eyes, and then there would be another explosion and I'd wake up.
The drone program is meant to keep US forces far from the dirty business of war, and it's expanded hugely and secretively under Barack Obama, from Afghanistan to Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia and beyond. Thousands have been killed, with many civilians among the dead. Just how many is hotly disputed. Obama has now introduced guidelines for the future, but for Sean, a fundamental problem remains.
You're eliminating people with no threat to yourself, and you know, some would call that assassination, or someone would call that execution. I wouldn't call it execution, because execution implies that there's actually been some due process in the, you know, being conducted, and there's not. So I would just say it's assassination.
But Sean says the next leap in technology could be uniquely dangerous. Autonomous warfare, where drones are powered by artificial intelligence.
I met one person, and they compared the idea of autonomous killer robots to like demons in the end days, because they're, you know, they don't question, they just do. I mean, I usually try to stay away from making these analogies, but I mean, who knows?
Does America want this to be the future of its warfare? It's a question Sean says the nation he helped kill for must now face up to, whoever wins the White House.
Although the situation in Greek waters has improved since last year, Stratis Valiamos still keeps a weather eye out for refugees in distress. For his efforts, the fisherman from Lesbos was even nominated for this year's Nobel Peace Prize.
He still goes fishing every day, just as he has done for 20 years. The Greek fisherman Stratis Valiamos casts his nets in the Mediterranean between the island of Lesbos and the Turkish coast, the same stretch of sea where more than 3,000 refugees drowned last year. You know, there was not a single moment during the day when you looked at the sea and you couldn't see a boat coming our way. Not one boat, but 5, 10, 15. You cannot really imagine this without having been here. Stratis Valiamos and his fellow fishermen were the only ones here to help when waves of refugees started arriving on Greek shores in 2015. And all they had were their tiny fishing vessels. The most dangerous thing is that the people were not familiar with the sea. Even when the waters were calm, people drowned, and I couldn't understand why. But then I saw it with my own eyes. If you cannot swim, you just go down like a rock. Like the fishermen, thousands of islanders volunteered during the crisis. 500,000 refugees landed on Lesbos alone. The pictures went around the world, showing a vacation destination transformed into an island of misery. Now, scattered around Lesbos, more than 5,000 refugees are living in places like this.
Come here.
Stavros Merouyanis has been running this camp since the start of the crisis. After the EU-Turkey refugee deal went into force, his camp became a dead end. Who has the right to turn our island into a warehouse for human beings? We, as locals in Lesbos, we don't like this at all. Of course, we need to check who's eligible for asylum, but no one has the right to keep all these people stranded here. Stratis Valiamos village was one of the epicenters of the crisis. The 40-year-old also works as a chef in one of the 3 small restaurants here. This summer, the tables remained empty and the small community is worried about the future. The biggest prize for me is that there are human beings somewhere who remember that I saved them. That is enough for me. The refugee crisis has transformed the island of Lesbos and the life of fisherman Stratis Valiamos. If the boats should start coming again, Stratis says he will go out again every day, and this time he will be even better prepared.
Here in Germany, refugees have been in the headlines this week. 3 Syrians overpowered a suspected terrorist also from Syria. Since then, they have been celebrated as heroes.
There are so many Syrian refugees on the boulevard here in the southeast of Berlin that they themselves refer to it as Arab Street. What quickly becomes clear to us is that no one here is sympathetic to the perpetrator. He's dangerous and he ensures that people will think badly about Syrians.
Hats off
to the 2 Syrians who apprehended him. They did the right thing, and I would have done the same. The Germans have welcomed us into their country. We've come here for a better future. We escaped war and chaos. We certainly don't want to bring the destruction here. The fact that so-called Islamic State terrorists are active in their new home country worries many people here, including the customers of Obeida Maruf, who runs a Syrian supermarket. Still, he says he feels safe here in Germany. Since I arrived here, I've forgotten the sounds of bombs and war. When planes fly overhead, they're clearly not combat aircraft. Diners in this new Syrian restaurant also appreciate this. The fear of terrorism is everywhere, but here in Germany, I'm not worried. I feel safe despite everything. Refugees want Germans to feel secure with their presence, despite the terror plots of other Syrians. In any case, the events in Leipzig made an impression on people here. They can help prevent attacks. As we leave Sonnenallee, it's clear to us that the courage of the 2 men from Leipzig have left a strong impression.
Our last report takes us to the waters off West Africa, the Cape Verde Islands. Fishermen there from the small port of Salamanca have been using solar energy to make the ice.
Auxilio Matias shows us his ice maker. He and other fishermen in Salamanca had a big problem paying for the ice they need to preserve their catch. 50 kilograms of ice used to cost the equivalent of 10 euros. It was expensive because they had to bring it in from a nearby city. Now that they can produce it here, it costs only half as much.
This community is poor and needs a lot of help. We used to buy the ice in Mindelo. We had to go there by car to buy it there. So I decided to do a project to bring the ice here to Salamanca.
The key to reducing ice costs is solar energy. Auxilio requested an ice maker powered by the sun, and the Japanese government bought them one as an investment. Auxilio and his son learned how to run it and repair it, so the ice never runs out.
Our association is responsible for the machine's maintenance and sells the ice. We have a bank account to keep the ice maker in good condition and to help the community.
The ice is not only being used to preserve the fishermen's catch. The Fishermen's Association also sells buckets of ice to other villagers who use it to conserve their fruit and fish. Sometimes they even sell the ice to other towns. They say the money they earn is mainly used to maintain the ice machine, but they also use it to help the local school or pay for medicine and medical costs when people can't afford it. Here, solar energy is also being used to illuminate the main streets. Solar power is gaining popularity in small rural communities like Salamanca. Cape Verde enjoys almost 365 days of sunshine. The country has set an ambitious goal to use 100% clean energy by 2020.